Okay, well, it is time.
We're back with the pièce de résistance.
Yeah, it's time for our last real economic video, or economic breakdown, I should say. We've got another one planned, but we're not going to get into that right now. So, without further ado, let's get into looking at our garden economics for 2021.
I guess we'll start with how much was spent on the garden first.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing with everything else.
Yeah. Garden expenses sort of vary, but we kind of broke it into two different things. So we had spent $637.51 on day-to-day type things. It's stuff that we would probably spend that yearly, whether it's buying more seeds, soil, mulch, trees or saplings, that sort of thing. You know, just kind of that one-off purchase. You know, you went to Canadian Tire and you saw an elderberry bush, so you said, I'm going to buy it. Who cares? $14. That sort of thing.
So we included all of that. So
what kind of amounted to $637. We had a big truckload of soil, and we did a truckload of mulch.
More than two truckloads.
Did we do two soil?
Yeah.
Two mulch or two soil?
Might have done two of both. I don't remember.
Anyways, that was included in there in expense. I can't remember. I think because they were... Anyways, we're not going to worry about how much it was per truckload, but that was in there. And seed orders, things like that, stocking up some of our seeds that we maybe didn't do so well at, saving seeds from.
Trying new things.
Yeah. And then we had a second kind of little sub category, which we put our raspberry patch into.
Because that was really a one-time purchase.
Yeah. Our raspberries cost us $420.50 with delivery, but we did plant...
A lot.
Yeah, it was 150, and we actually ended up, I think it was with 168. Because they sent extras. So that was a big purchase that we wouldn't be making again and again and again. Now, saying that, we're also saying that maybe next year we'll get some fruit trees or something. So there might be something there. But
I think the way to put that is we might do something similar, but it won't be raspberries.
Yeah.
It'll be something different.
Yeah.
And eventually you would get to the point with the perennials like trees and stuff.
You're not needing to buy more.
Yeah, you will get to the point that you're buying less or almost nothing.
So it's like seeds. We really buy very little seeds. So in total, expense-wise for the garden, including the raspberries, was $1,058.01. So we're just going to say $1,058 to keep it simple.
Which really, there's, again, tons of ways you could reduce that. Doing the things like saving seeds and whatnot, and learning eventually how to propagate some woody plants, all things that would be helpful.
And we're still working on growing our garden spaces because we've only been here for 2 garden seasons. So we're coming into our 3rd garden season now, and there's still going to be mulch expenses and soils because we have more raised beds to make and gardens to till and amendments to make. So
more plans.
There will still be that, but eventually the hope is that that bill will not be quite as high. But saying that, even with that high of a bill,
this is our total poundage of
what we grew in the garden.
So vegetables.
This does not, just clarifying for anybody, this is not the total of what we grew this year. This is just what came into the house from the garden for human consumption. It doesn't include food that went to rabbits or pigs or anything like that. It is only what was for human consumption that came into the house and was weighed. And it does not include eggs, meat. It does not include any foraged items such as the apples.
We took that
or daylilies, things like that. So in total, you want to tell them the grand total? I can't do a drum roll, can you?
No, because it'll shake the camera.
That's okay. Something like that anyway.
So in total, we basically grew and harvested 2,202 pounds of vegetables.
From our garden, which was virtually 1/10 of an acre in size. Pretty much. I'd like to just kind of go through some of the ones that really stood out of what, like we harvested a very wide variety of different plants and
we are going to do a further breakdown of this, but for today's video, we're just kind of give you a few of the highlights.
Highlights and also things that I think we did, I'm super proud of. So our heavy hitter really was the tomatoes. We brought in 746 pounds of tomatoes, which is unbelievably good.
We knew we grew a lot of tomatoes, but we didn't realize we grew that many tomatoes.
Now, to put it into perspective for people, because a lot of people be going, well, geez, what did you do with all those tomatoes? How could you possibly use that? I used 120 pounds of tomatoes just to make ketchup for the whole year. So when you think about doing ketchup, tomato juice, pasta sauce, barbecue sauce, fresh eating, all those things, stews, soups, everything, it all adds up quite quickly. To be honest, I mean, that is sort of a target amount for us every year. So that just gives a bit of an idea of perspective of where all that food goes. Squash was a huge one for us. Winter squash, we had 443 pounds. You'll be able to see, we'll put a little link in here for some of our squash harvesting videos. And it was good. We had the Canada Crookneck, which we ran a little competition for, and things like that. 443 pounds of winter squash is amazing. But even more amazing was from our little yellow crookneck squash that, you know, we harvest like zucchini, the summer squash. We had 79 pounds this year, and it freezes amazing. We are still going through it, so definitely, again, I would say similar goals for next year. Potatoes was probably our next heavy hitter. We had 342 pounds of potatoes. Not sure if we're going to stick with trying to amass that quite of a number, but especially now that we know we really like the squash for a lot of substitutes. So, but definitely pleased with that. That was over, I think we had 7 varieties. So loving that we got a really good potato harvest this year, because this is the first year since we started gardening that I've been able to eat potatoes all year and not worry about it. Beets, we had 118 pounds, which is pretty good. Peppers, 93 pounds of peppers. And again, I know that sounds like a lot, but our Italian frying peppers freeze up beautifully. We just dice them into little cubes, throw them in the fridge, or freezer, I guess, and we're still eating them now. We've gone through a couple bags already of our frozen ones, so that's another number that we wouldn't really change. Eggplant, 45 pounds of ping tongue eggplant.
Just quite a bit.
It is. One of the things I think is most crazy and wonderful is our fresh beans. We grew 44 pounds of fresh beans this year, yellow, green, and purple. Going through them great. They're still in the freezer, so loving it. I think probably the one thing that I'm most excited and happy and impressed with is, it sounds like a small number, but we grew 22 pounds of lettuce. Lettuce has always been a bit of a challenge for us, mastering growing it, getting it to go all season. We still didn't achieve that this year. We still had a big gap in the summer where just nothing was.
We just can't grow it well here.
But we're still playing around with that.
But that's a good example of where weight-wise it doesn't account for a lot, but it's quite valuable, right? As a green, especially in the early part of the year.
Exactly.
So as we say, we are going to go into some of this a little bit more, because we're going to talk about like what we did with some of it, and maybe do a little bit more of a breakdown of kind of our total harvest. Which, stay tuned for the end of this video, because we are going to actually announce the winner. But yes, we're gonna go through this a little bit more. But really, I guess the big point of this exercise is to show how valuable gardens are at saving money. Not necessarily time, because it's a lot of work. I'll let you say what we produced, or what that worked out to be.
So our 2,202 pounds worked out to be, if you included the cost of the raspberries, we basically grew that for 48 cents a pound. If you take out the raspberries, which was a one-time purchase, we were 29 cents a pound for produce. Fresh, I'm not going to say organically grown because we aren't certified or anything, but, you know, fresh farm-grown
homegrown
produce. 29 cents a pound is not too bad. I did a quick look up on some of the, I couldn't find some 2022 prices, which we know we're starting to see some real increases, but on some 2021 prices, on average, just took out a few things like the carrots, onions, tomatoes, lettuce, things like that, got their price per pound, and then made an average of all of it. $1.31 Canadian, I should also put on there, $1.31 Canadian a pound is about the average cost of produce for 2021. So if you did that times by the 2,202 pounds that we grew, that's $2,885 roughly worth of food, even at the cheapest end, which, you know, it's really hard to say. I wasn't researching organic grown or anything like that. It was just your standard grocery store.
And we could
produce.
Go through and break it down more. Your savings is probably greater because some of the items have a higher value than others.
Yeah.
If you were purchasing them. Now that we've kind of gone through that, as we say, there will be some more discussion on especially the garden stuff, but just what we produced in general. So we're now about to get to the real I don't know, interesting part probably for everybody. But before I do that, we are actually going to give away 2 prizes to people that get, or for those who guess, and it's going to be a choice. And the choice, basically, the person who came closest will get first choice, and then we're also going to give away a second place prize. So what we have is this terrific Garden Tonics book. We just happen to have a second copy of, which we actually do use this a fair bit. So a great book, and books are great resources. And the other is a pair of Icelandic mittens. These are I don't know what size they are, but
they'd fit. They're a large women's or a men's hand.
Mm-hmm. So as we say, the person who came closest, Price is Right rule, without going over, gets first choice. We're going to start with who came in second place. So Caitlin's Family Farmstead came in second with a guess of 2,390 pounds. The person who came in with the closest guess was Miles. Miles, we'll link both channels up above, with 2,900 pounds. So congratulations to you both for guessing and being so close without going over. So that is our two winners for a little giveaway contest we sort of did when we started our economics videos way back in January. And so congratulations to you both. As I say, we'll link both channels, and we know how to get a hold of both of you, so that's awesome. And I guess now we've held you in suspense up until now. Here's the big reveal of how many pounds of food. Now this is everything. This is what we grew, what we foraged, basically what we brought into the house as food.
Including meat, eggs.
Yeah, including meat, eggs, vegetables, foraged, whatever. And this does not include what went to animals. So this is just our food. So the grand total, we brought in 3,155 pounds of food in 2021. We don't think that's too bad. Now we're going to, again, there's going to be a couple videos coming shortly where we go into this a little more, not so much on the economic side, but what we grew, how much we grew. Anyways, you'll see those in the near future. So again, congratulations to Miles, and congratulations to Caitlin.